Yo, what's going on, everybody? You've in the thumbnail, you've read the title. Today I want to talk about the whole argument of, oh, you don't need to nerf the good weapons, you just need to buff the underpowered weapons. Because I think this is genuinely the stupidest argument I have ever heard in Call of Duty, so I want to talk about it. With that being said, let's get right on into today's video, guys. Alright, so the amount of times I have heard the argument of, oh, this gun doesn't need to be nerfed, you just need to buff the underpowered weapons. And honestly, that is the stupidest thing you can ever do. Because if any of you have played Modern Warfare 2, you would know that one of the problems with Modern Warfare 2, there's a lot of problems with Modern Warfare 2, doesn't inherently mean it's a bad game, there's just a lot of problems with it. But one of the things with Modern Warfare 2 is literally everything is overpowered. Now that is Modern Warfare 2's best thing about it, and it can also be its worst thing about it, because then it makes every single gunfight is infuriating because everything is broken. And you can say, oh, well, that makes it fun, but the game really, is it balanced or is it not balanced? It's the most balanced Call of Duty game ever, Modern Warfare 2, and it's the most unbalanced Call of Duty game ever at the exact same time, because it doesn't matter what you're using, it feels like your opponent's gun could just possibly be just as overpowered as yours, and you end up with this situation that there really is no meta, it's just whatever the hell kind of broken thing you want to use, everything is just stupid. And now that's not inherently a bad thing, but that is one of my problems with Modern Warfare 2, and like all of my videos, this is just my opinion. This is also why I praise BO4, because it's the complete opposite. In BO4, there really isn't a lot of overpowered weapons, aside from, well, when they added the VMP and the micro. There's not a lot of overpowered weapons if the VMP and micro were not in BO4. Like, the Cordite's usable, the GKS was usable, all the weapons felt different, and nothing really felt overpowered, everything felt fair, everything felt like it was, you know, relatively balanced. Whereas Modern Warfare 2, everything feels broken, right? Now, again, two complete polar opposite spectrums, which is where I think this argument stems from at the end of the day, is people want a Modern Warfare 2 feel rather than a Black Ops 4 feel where everything is balanced, and people criticized Black Ops 4 for that because they said every gun felt the same because every gun was relatively balanced and nothing was really overpowered until they added the VMP and micro. Whatever, you know, I digress, but I think that's where this argument stems from at the end of the day. At the end of the day, people just want the game to feel like Modern Warfare 2 instead of feeling like a game where everything isn't really, there's nothing really infuriating about it. It's just, well, oh, he killed me with that gun, it's slightly better than mine, but guess what, my weapon is going to kill him at a farther range. The only reason he killed me is because he out-TTK'd me because his weapon's better up close. Like, that's like a Vesper versus Cordite type thing, where it's like the Cordite's slightly better at range than the Vesper, or sorry, the Spitfire, same thing. But, you know, anyways, back to the argument. When you decide to just buff everything that's weak, you go to a thing where everything's overpowered, and it's just, it turns into a terrible shit show, which is why I don't really like MW2 all that much. But that's what ends up happening. Like, if we were to take the KSP and just make it into the Daemon, well, then the MP5 really isn't that good anymore, the 7.4U isn't that good anymore, and we just change up the meta, which, you know, it doesn't suck to change up the meta, but the thing is, what you need to do is you need to take your broken weapons, nerf them slightly, take your really underperforming, really bad weapons, and buff them. And when you do this enough times, eventually you're going to tip the scale to be pretty much as balanced as you can, and take what, in my opinion, is the best quality of Black Ops 4, again, aside from the VMP and micro, where everything is fair, everything's balanced, nothing feels infuriating to go against. But that's not what Cold War is experiencing right now. It's like, yeah, the AK is completely annoying to go against if you're not using an AK. The 7.4U and MP5 are annoying to go against, and those are really the only weapons you play against, unless some kid's camping with a stone or an M60, right? Other than that, like, that's all you play against. You play against a kid who's camping with a stone or an M60, or some kid jump shotting with a 7.4U or using an AK. And people think, oh, well, to solve this issue, we just need to buff the underpowered weapons. Don't nerf the broken ones. Don't nerf the ones that just kill ridiculously fast for a fast time to kill game. That's not the solution. I don't know where this comes from. Again, I think it's just because people want everything to be broken instead of everything to be viable. Or they just want their overpowered weapon to stay overpowered. Maybe that's the thing. They just don't want to have to adapt to a new weapon, or they just don't want to have to use anything other than the AK. They don't want it to not be brokenly overpowered anymore. That's the only sides where I can see this coming from. Either they just want their weapon to stay overpowered and just want to use the excuse of, oh, just buff the other weapons. Keep my weapon overpowered because I'm using it. Maybe it's a selfish thing. Maybe it's a thing that they just want everything to be broken. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you agree with this argument? If so, please explain to me why, because it's really hard for me to wrap my head around it. I don't know why. And if you made it this far, comment ring. With that being said, I will see you guys all later. Bye-bye. Have a great rest of the day.